Last night, we hosted the Krasenstein brothers, a couple of Democrat personalities known as the most notorious Trump reply guys. And when we got to the subject of Joe Biden having classified documents in his office at UPenn and his home, the immediate response was, but the vice president can declassify. Are you kidding me? When they raided Donald Trump's house and they find these classified documents, everybody points out the president has plenary declassification powers. He is the end-all, be-all of declassification. And now, all of a sudden, oh yes, but the president and vice president can declassify. So what? Now the argument is, well, it's not the issue that Trump had the documents. It's that he obstructed justice. Oh, spare me, dude. You ready for this one, my friends? We got a couple big stories pertaining to Joe Biden, and I love this one. From the Daily Mail. Democrat says Biden's classified documents could have been planted. Oh, planted. Oh, it's a conspiracy to bring him down. And the timing of the discovery is suspicious as president's party rush to defend his actions. Are you kidding me? Now, I absolutely love this because we live in this crackpot reality where the mainstream media will spit on you and then point to the other guy. You know what it reminds me of, actually? You guys ever see that Family Guy joke where Peter Griffin's in the elevator with one other guy? He farts and goes, "It was you." Like, that's what it is. It's like, dude, this is literally not something you can fool us on. We have been through this already. Y'all screwed up. You went nuts screaming that Donald Trump had classified documents. Donald Trump, as the president, declassified them. Next story, please. But you wouldn't let it go. You couldn't let it go. And now we're learning that not only did Joe Biden have the documents in his office, in his home, here's the best part, from Real Clear Politics, Hunter Biden accessed garage where dad kept his Corvette and classified material. Now, admittedly, when I saw this story, I went, yeah, okay. Look, here's the issue. I don't really care if Hunter Biden had access to the garage where a big old stack of garbage was. I call it garbage, but some of it turns out to be classified documents. I don't think Hunter Biden is snooping around the garage with a beanie on and like a black sweater and a flashlight looking for the documents or anything like that. No, but the point is, these documents were not secured properly. They were not locked up. And that's really, really bad. Donald Trump's documents were locked up. And the FBI actually had to go in and break the lock. Funny story. The lock was actually theirs. But Hunter Biden had access to this garage. So again, not that I think Hunter Biden is stealing the documents and taking pictures and like, now I'm going to exfiltrate this data. But it shows you how insecure this really was. But of course, the Democrats are going to make up anything they can to justify why this is totally fine. That's amazing, isn't it? Look, Hillary Clinton had 30,000 plus emails on a private server, and then she destroyed them. These were public record. Then her staff smashed phones with hammers. Okay. Donald Trump has some classified documents. He declassified them. Next story, please. But not only that, even if you really were concerned about Trump and these documents, well, you didn't go after Hillary Clinton for 30,000 emails. Why am I going to demand you go after Trump? These are the standards that you want to play by. We'll play by them. But then when you do go after Trump, I make the same argument. If these are the rules you want to play by, I will play too. And thus, Joe Biden, lock him up. He can't be president. He can't run for office. He's done. You ready for this one? From Newsweek. Is the deep state coming after Joe Biden? From Josh Hammer. Okay, this one's actually interesting because I've heard this argument made several times now. They want to get rid of Joe Biden so they can bring in Kamala Harris for 2024. Okay, maybe. But in the meantime, Democrats are still trying to defend Joe Biden. Let's read the story from the Daily Mail. Democratic Rep Hank Johnson suggested that the classified documents found in Biden's garage could have been planted there. Oh, my. Alleged classified documents showing up allegedly in the possession of Joseph Biden. I'm suspicious of the timing of it, the Georgia congressman told Fox News. On Thursday, the White House confirmed a second trove of classified documents was found at the president's private residence. I'm also aware of the fact that things can be planted on people. Things can be planted in places and then discovered conveniently. That may be what has occurred here. I'm not ruling that out, but I'm open in terms of the investigation needs to be investigated. Johnson continued. This is beyond QAnon level conspiracy theory. I'm sorry. You know, these people are like, somebody broke into Biden's garage and planted documents. Are you kidding me, dude? It's like Don Jr. It's not Hunter Biden with the beanie on and the black sweater and the flashlight. It's Don Jr. And he pulls out a trove of documents from the sweater and he like sticks it in a box and he goes, now we have you, Joe Biden. Come on, man. This is so dumb. When it comes to Trump and when it comes to Biden, I'll tell you what I think happened. They're leaving office. They have boxes of papers and garbage and they pick it up and they carry it out. They don't go through it. They don't think. They don't care. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I don't think it's that big of a deal for Joe Biden. I don't think it's that big of a deal for Donald Trump. But we hear every single argument, and it's just sophistry. And with all due respect to the Krasensteins for coming on, because Democrats almost never want to, I think their arguments are nonsense. It's just nonsense. Now you're arguing the vice president can declassify. Where were you when Donald Trump had these documents? Now you're agreeing that he can declassify too? Get out of here, man. And is that absolving them of their responsibility? Or, of course, you can just say, it was the deep state. President Biden admitted earlier the documents were in his garage and made no accusations of foul play. So the documents were in a locked garage, Ducey asked. Yes, along with my Corvette. Yeah, it's almost like Joe Biden ain't all with it. It's kind of sad, to be honest. Democrats have largely avoided direct criticism of Biden, criticizing Biden over the documents. Adam Schiff, former Intel chairman, said that anytime classified documents were found, where they shouldn't be, it is cause for a concern. Okay, anytime classified documents were found where they shouldn't be, it is cause for a concern. Okay, fine. Agreed. Then let's go after Hillary for public records. Let's go after Donald Trump, and let's go after Joe Biden. And you know what that might mean? It might mean no Trump in 2024, and it certainly means no Joe Biden right now. Because if he violated the National Records Act or whatever, Federal Records Act, then he's got to forfeit office. Bye-bye. Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries told reporters Thursday, I have full faith and credit in President Biden. I believe that he is doing everything to take the appropriate steps to determine what happened and how to move forward in a responsible fashion. And I'm confident that he will continue to do so. The White House has said the first trove of documents were found days before midterm elections as they were clearing out the office space and immediately turned over to the National Archives. Biden said he was surprised to learn of the initial documents and did not know their contents. Quote, I was briefed about this discovery and surprised to learn that there were any government records that were taken there to that office. But I don't know what's in the documents. My lawyers have not suggested I ask what documents they were. I don't think that matters. I don't really care about the documents, to be completely honest. My concern is the lies of the media, the manipulation. Like, come on, man. Now, you want to make arguments about national security? Let's talk about Hunter Biden having access to these documents. It's a problem. I certainly think so. And this is now what we're getting from Democrats. And I don't think any independent, moderate conservative should entertain the argument at all. Or, I take that back. Maybe by entertaining the argument that Biden does have declassification powers, they just neutered their investigation against Donald Trump. But no. I'll put it this way. They're going to go after Donald Trump no matter what. They're going to call it obstruction of justice. That's what the Krasensteins were calling it. Fine. Then we go after Joe Biden for mishandling government documents. The Washington Times reports, discovery of Biden documents sparks debate over vice president's declassification powers. The discovery of Obama-era classified documents at President Biden's former office in Washington has sparked a debate over whether vice presidents have the power to declassify sensitive materials. The documents found in packing boxes, blah, 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 blah. We know. All right, let's figure out what this is all about. Mr. Trump has made the president's power to declassify documents a central part of his defense. He insisted that presidents can declassify just by saying it's declassified, even by thinking it. Legal scholars have disputed the claim, insisting there's a formal process for declassifying documents. My understanding is that's not true. We had PolitiFact already report that the president can just speak these things. The vice president's declassification powers are even less clear. A March 2003 executive order signed by President George W. Bush empowered the vice president to classify sensitive materials. That same executive order grants declassification powers to the official who authorized the original classification or a supervisor official. What does that mean? A supervisor official. Don't know. Under the executive order, Vice presidents are granted the power to declassify documents they classified themselves. But it's unclear if the vice president would be viewed as a supervisory official with the ability to declassify sensitive documents from the CIA and other intelligence agencies. That vague language will be used as their defense. That leaves it muddled whether a vice president can declassify documents. Late Monday, Trump insisted the power to declassify ends the presidency. Quote, a VP cannot declassify documents, which are covered by the Federal Records Act, which is criminal and much tougher than the Presidential Records Act, which is not criminal. A president, me, can declassify. Mr. Trump's allies have heavily leaned into that argument. They made it clear they intend to emphasize that point while discussing the Biden revelations. By the way, the only person that has the constitutional authority to declassify any documents is the President of the United States, not the Vice President. Steve Scalise of Louisiana told reporters on Tuesday. Is it any surprise to anybody? Is it a surprise to anyone? They're making this argument now. Look at this story from the Daily Mail. The Gray Ladies Hunter whitewash. How the New York Times sugarcoated the Biden's dodgy business deals, shared bank accounts, and whistleblowers in its 5,300-word investigation into the troubled first son. We know they're running cover. It's all they do. All day, every day. Every single story that comes out, there's always going to be some sophistry or nonsense to criticize Trump, to blame Republicans, and defend Democrats. But there is one reality. There is one reality. And within this reality, perhaps they're really just trying to get rid of Joe Biden. Now, of course, the media is still going to try and mount some defense. If you're rigging a boxing match, you can't just go down in round one. You got to make it look real, you know? You got to put up a fight and then get knocked out. But maybe that's a bit too much, a bit too conspiratorial. But I still love the narrative from Newsweek. Is the deep state coming after Joe Biden? The second half of Joe Biden's presidential term has officially gotten off to an ignominious start. Earlier this week, CBS News first broke the story that Biden had been storing classified documents. Yeah. We know. That alone would be bad enough for a president who utterly excoriated former President Trump in the aftermath of the unprecedented pre-dawn FBI raid at Mar-a-Lago, Trump's Palm Beach estate. I think we all know what Mar-a-Lago is, due to Trump's own classified documents. So Joe Biden comes out, rags on Donald Trump over classified documents, and now the same thing's happening to him. You got to admit, it's perfect, isn't it? You get Joe Biden to go after Trump, say you can't do this, then they discover you did it too. What are you going to say? You know, last month I was wrong about that when I criticized Donald Trump. Nice try. It's not going to work. They say the galling hypocrisy from the Penn Biden Center incident would have been bad enough, but then Joe Biden's week got even worse. Adding insult to injury, two separate tranches of additional classified documents were found in Biden's Delaware home. All but one of the documents was found in a storage space in Biden's garage. The garage was locked, the president quickly pointed out, in a flippant attempt at de-escalation. Attorney General Merrick Garland responded to the news with the appointment of a special counsel. Garland, of course, had done the same for Trump almost 2 months prior. Maybe they're not really going after Trump. Maybe they feel like they've already gotten rid of Trump. Maybe the Trump story was a setup for Joe Biden. I don't necessarily believe it, but, it's fun to entertain, isn't it? They say. But obvious similarities, hence Biden's egregious hypocrisy, in these situations aside, there are some crucial differences. Those differences do not reflect well on the current White House occupant. By far, the most important difference is the constitutional distinction in the statuses of the two men. We get it. Trump is the president, Biden's the vice president. He goes on to say, the upshot is that, as this column argued after August's Mar-a-Lago raid, Trump had unilateral plenary authority to declassify any document that he wanted to declassify, period. Biden possessed no such similar power. All presidents receive various taxpayer-funded accoutrements, among them a staff with security clearances and secure facilities, SCIFs, for the maintenance of classified records. Biden, as an ex-vice president and not an ex-president, had no such niceties. He merely had a garage with a lock secure enough for his Corvette. And when you look at the video, you can see it's like thin wood paneling garage. You can probably punch a hole through. From a legal perspective, we will see where freshly minted special counsel Robert Hur goes with his investigation. And from a political perspective, The Biden administration's astounding hypocrisy on the matter will surely face a blowback. But perhaps the most pressing question is why? Why was there a leak to CBS News just now? I asked this the other day. 2 months after they discovered the first tranche, why admit it? Why come out and say you did this? With Donald Trump, he got raided by the FBI. They targeted him. But if you're Joe Biden, why admit to it? Maybe he's being sold out. It is thoroughly unsurprising that the federal law enforcement apparatus and the corporate media buried the news of Biden's malfeasance on the precipice of the midterm elections. The Democrat media complex, as the late Andrew Breitbart called it, demands nothing less than such complicity. But the timing of the leak from various federal law enforcement actors now, just as Biden is beginning a second term, suggests beginning a second term? What? He's not beginning a second term, still his first term. There is a real internal turmoil over at the Democratic National Committee. Perhaps someone at the DNC instructed deep state spooks that now would be a particularly propitious time to leak sordid details to the media. Perhaps someone at the DNC thought Joe Biden did his jobs by shepherding his party through the midterms without succumbing to the much feared red wave, but that he is now disposable and should be replaced at the ballot in 2024 by Gavin Newsom. Loath though I am to speculate, it is difficult to think of a sounder explanation as to why only now all of this is coming out. I agree. No, for real, man. Why are they admitting to it? The first time, bad enough. A second time? And then Joe Biden does a press conference where he fumbles and bumbles. Where were his handlers now to usher him away from the press conference? They let him go off for almost 2 minutes talking about how I had these in my garage. And then they instantly pull up these videos showing the Corvette and the garage and just how insecure it really was. Unsecured, whatever the word is. It does kind of feel like they're basically saying we are done with Joe Biden and it's time to go. What I don't buy about that and why I find the whole thing weird is like Joe Biden's in on it. They could just go to him. Obama could put his hand on his shoulder and say, Joe, your job is done. We want you to retire and resign. We'll call it a health issue. Kamala Harris takes over. Gavin Newsom steps in. How about that? Why would you need to throw Joe Biden under the bus? I don't get it. It makes the Democrats look like hypocrites. It hurts Biden's legacy. What you really want is an opportunity in 2024 to say that Joe Biden did a good job, that Joe Biden actually turned this country around, and then sacrificing his own health. He leaves office, or I should say he sacrificed his health for you as an old man. And now humbly, due to ailing health, he recognizes he's just not the man for the job and then bow him out. Not only that, he could just not run again. They could go to him and say, Joe, you're not running. He'll say, okay, that's it. I don't know. Maybe something happened behind the scenes. Maybe they went to Joe and they were like, all right, Joe, we're bringing in Kamala. You're not running again. Or we're bringing in Buttigieg or Newsom. And he goes, listen here, man. You know, I'm going to finish 2 terms. Come on, man. You know, I got a legacy. And then they were like, uh-oh, Joe's getting a little too rambunctious here. Maybe we need to find a way to get rid of him. Honestly, it's really hard to understand. It's hard to speculate. It's hard to know. Because if they're actually going after Joe Biden, then, I mean, it's just kind of weird. Why would they need to? But the other big issue, the other big factor I just want to point out is just, I mean, is it a cover-up? Like, people are talking about how this Robert Hur guy is actually just deep state crony, Comey crony. But if that's the case, why even admit to the documents in the first place? There is one simple solution. Joe Biden's lawyers didn't want to get caught up in this, so they reported it because they didn't want to do something illegal. The federal government feels pressured to go after Biden because of what happened with Donald Trump, and they have no choice. Maybe that's going to be the cover-up. Maybe the special counsel is just there to feign impartiality. The lawyers found the documents and went, oh crap, I am not sticking my name on this one, and immediately reported it. I think that one makes the most sense. Accidents happen, and Joe Biden screwed up. It's the simple solution. But you know what, Democrats? You will reap what you have sown. And if you want to make the argument for months that Donald Trump is no longer eligible for office, Mark Elias, this lawyer, well, y'all have just disqualified Joe Biden. But I got to be honest. Maybe they're happy with it. Maybe they don't want Joe Biden, and so be it. They won't get him. Maybe that was it. I don't think it's one big circuitous plan, but it certainly is convenient for those who are Democrats who want to see Newsom, Buttigieg, or Kamala. I think Joe Biden's too old, and he is a serious liability for the Democrats, and I think they all know it. But we'll see, my friends. We'll see. Forgive my raspy voice. I woke up with a frog in my throat, but I think it's clearing up. It's slowly improving, and that's why I was like, I'll just record, and it is what it is. Yeah, I don't know. It was worse earlier, and then by the time I was getting ready to record, it's like actually starting to get better. So I was like, whatever. But we got more segments coming up for you. Next segment will be up at 1 p.m. on this channel this Friday the 13th. Stick around, and we'll see you all then.